Hello, Zelda fans, and welcome to tonight's Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament Gold Sword Bracket First Round Matchup. We've got a great race for you all today. This is Game 2 between the number 1 seeded undefeated Couch 23 versus the number 16 Silverhand. I'm your one of your co-commentators, Jawsomesauce, here tonight with Morgcl. Morg, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jocelyn. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm super excited for this one. We've got, like I said, a big race here. So far, we've got Couch 23 with a 1-0 lead. This is a single elimination bracket tournament, best of 3. So we're gonna have to see if Couch can close this race tonight, or if Silverhand's gonna make it go to Game 3. This is an open mode. Morgan, do you want to tell us what open mode means?
Yeah, sure thing. That means that none of the chests have been checked, and the players will get a start from either the Sanctuary or Link's House, and really go from there. And so they don't start with, and they're actually not starting with a sword. That is a change for the brackets as well. So it is completely open, no sword assured. So we're really going to get to test their routing that they've learned over the last couple of weeks. It's going to be really good.
Absolutely. And just like you mentioned that, we just had 6 weeks of Swiss, which was open mode with a sword guaranteed from the start. That was with mentors, so they got a little help from experienced runners. We'll talk more about that as the race progresses. But here we are on their own. These are new runners. This is the future of Zelda Rando. And so it's going to be very exciting. This is a 10-minute delay. I'm here live. We're live. But the runners are actually 10 minutes in the past with what we're watching. That's just a competition kind of security function that lots of tournaments use. So you're going to see them start in about 10 or 15 seconds here. Anything last thoughts before we get going here?
No, it's just going to be a really exciting race. Couch, as I hear it, has been undefeated through the entire bracket so far, obviously, with just the one race under their belt, and then throughout the Swiss rounds as well. And so really putting on a show for us. It's going to be exciting, and we'll see if Silverhand can keep up with them.
Awesome. And as you said earlier, open mode starts with an option of going to the Sanctuary to start, or from Link's House, and you'll see both of them are going to take a Sanctuary start. Just some arrows in the box here. Remember, with open mode, eventually you can choose, or maybe you have to do the full escape. Normally in a standard mode, you start with having to do the escape, the whole castle, but here in open mode, you get to choose where you start.
Yeah, it is interesting. It definitely gives us the potential for divergence really early. It does, though, mean that, things like enemy kills, as we still see Silverhand doing right now, you kind of got to go out of your way to get these tree pulls activated.
Yeah, one advantage it looks like Couch is going to take sometimes is checking the Lumberjack early on. Actually, he's going to go up there. Sorry about that. Wasn't quite sure. So going to get a Lumberjack check to see if Aga is required, at least for this part. And it looks like just some rupees there. So at least for this part, Lumberjack is not required. Meanwhile, Silverhand is into the forest.
Rupees in the forest as well, and checking that bush crab, couple hearts, nothing we need right now. And Silverhand falling down the hideout there. Half magic is a nice find early, just to carry you through the seed. That'll be a nice, just a safety thing to have. Don't have to really worry too much about your magic consumption, or as much, I should say.
And as this is open mode, this is a 7-7, meaning it takes 7 crystals to be able to go into Ganon's tower and defeat Ganon. So at some point we'll see a map check. The crystals and pendants are randomized. So who knows, which pendants or crystals are where. But usually sometime in the late world, they'll make a check.
Yeah, usually get a few checks under your belt, kind of get a gauge of maybe what the seed's thrown at you, and then decide where you want to go after checking the map. We'll see where those pendants lay out. It could be really a big game changer with some of those dungeons that really like to throw a lot of items in there. And there's a bow in the well. Very nice find early as well.
One thing I'll point out is neither player got any bombs from their first survey of the crabs and the trees. So the best place to go often for most runners is to go into the well first, because usually you're going to get your 50 rupees to buy some bombs. And if you don't, it's easier to come back to bomb the back of the well later. If you go to Blind's Hut, it's going to be a little late. As you see Silverhand picking up some bombs from the vendor there. Couch finding one at one of the 50-50 bushes.
Yeah, that's nice. And then bombing. See, this is new info for me. I've never seen this hut. What do we have here?
The corners are bombs, so you can guaranteed 4 bombs for 1. This is a great place to save your rupees. And as we see bombs behind the bomb in Chicken Hut there. That's a great place to just grab some. And Couch is going to fill up, which is a great idea. It's free. Basically, just cost you a bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. Learning something here on comms already.
As we see Silverhand go back to the well. So in this case, Couch got the 50-50 bomb. It might not have been there. So there's a risk for both of them for each route that they took. But it doesn't look like too much time is lost between them.
No, not too much at all. Except now we got Silverhand down a few rupees, but it looks like they've been getting rich pretty quick, which is nice. Good to have that money early, just in case Zora comes into logic earlier as well.
Yeah, keep in mind, you need about 610 rupees usually in the game, or 710 actually, because you need to pay the bottle vendor 100. You need 100 and then 10 to get into Palace of the Darkness, and you need 500 for Zora. So even if the beginning of your game has a lot of rupees, sometimes you want to farm a little bit extra to make sure you can pay those costs later in the game.
Absolutely. There's definitely been times we've seen runners have to find rupees in other ways, hideouts that have rupees, things of that nature, just to try to even progress. And so these extra rupees early on are really nice to see. And there we've got a lamp in the back of Blind's Hut. Again, another just nice item to have, especially early on. Don't have to worry about dark rooms for the whole seed. Very, very nice.
And Espeon, thank you in the chat. Also adding that we need 30 rupees for the chess game in the Village of Outcasts and 80 for the dig game. So that's another 110, about 850 or so rupees. Plus you want rupees for potions potentially. So money is very important.
Yeah, we did get a map check as well, and it looks like we have got a 5-6 crystal on Eastern and crystals in Desert and Hera as well. So a nice crystal heavy light world.
And with the bow and the lamp, Eastern Palace is now fully clearable already. So there is a good drive to go right there as soon as any runner can do that.
Yeah, I'd bet we'll see someone go to that pretty early. It's obviously a fairly easy. Oh, and a sword on the library. So we will probably be seeing that again, I would imagine.
And hopefully sooner than later. I mean, we'd love to have some boots pretty quickly here.
Yes, absolutely would love to see some boots. And some blue mail, and Silverhand is going to go get it. Silverhand's going to go get that blue mail. I think I would as well.
Yeah, I agree. This early in the game, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
You never know what the seed's going to give you. And, you got to know your own capabilities and your own comfort level. And, this might be all the hearts they get before they have to take on Mothula and Skull Woods or something else. So might as well get it.
And Couch showing off the confidence there a little bit, just saying, I don't need that blue mail. We're going to save and quit out of here. And Hookshot in Link's house. What another nice find early on.
And it looks like Couch is going to head towards Eastern. I mean, you not only can you clear Eastern right away, you want to be pushing towards those crystals as soon as possible in open mode. And you get the 3 chests from Sahasrah's closet too. So lots of checks here, plus a red crystal completion.
Absolutely. And nice to also get that 5-6. I mean, doesn't mean anything until we know where that second 5-6 is, but having that first one out of the way nice and early, it opens up 2 potential extra checks in the desert. Pyramid Ferry.
And we know that the green pennant is Ice Palace today because Sahasrah gave us that nice information there.
And there's a glove right in the back of Sahasrah's hut. Nice to see that as well. We are getting some good items nice and early on. It's just cool to see.
It's always nice when it lines up. The seed tells you to go to Eastern Palace, gives you a glove on the way. What a thoughtful seed.
Gotta love it. Thanks for rolling the seed, Trey.
But that sword on the library, you could get seeds that you do 6 dungeons and then you finally get the boots.
That is it. So we'll see where those boots end up being. I mean, I suppose they aren't guaranteed at this point yet. They don't necessarily need that sword, only need the 2. But it's always nice to get that tempered or maybe even that gold sword eventually.
And I want to point out too that you don't need a sword for Eastern Palace, right? The bow is everything. Having the hook shot gives you a lot of extra mobility to make it easier to reach chests quicker and just get around. But if you got that sword and you got that lantern, like you're ready to go.
Absolutely, makes it the hook shot's nice. Just makes that check on the right side a little bit faster even. So just little details like that are going to really make this Eastern a nice play early on. And of course, being the first dungeon in the vanilla game is really the easiest of all of them, and so pretty easy to just get through and not have to worry about it being only on about 4 or 5 hearts here.
And while the runners kind of take a little long break here to reach the other side of Eastern Palace, just want to point out that this was a mentor tournament designed for new runners, people who have never raced before, very little experience with the game, and just wanted to get better. So we're talking about new runners. They've had 6 weeks to work with mentors one-on-one, and they've learned a lot. So this is like their second game on their own, second race on their own here, and to see them doing, making decisions like this, the routing choices, also knowing whether they need swords or, like in Couch's case, not taking the armor. You're going to see some interesting choices based on what they've learned over the last month and a half.
Yeah, it was really cool to sit in on some of the earlier races with the mentors and hear the discussions being had, especially some of the streams people were having, and really a cool thing to hear. And now here they are, all grown up and all on their own, and seems like so far so good. These runners know what they're doing, and they're doing it well.
And speaking of mentors, we'll shout out really quick. Couch23 worked with Cassidy Moen for about 5 of those 6 weeks, and Homemade Beer. So shout out to Couch's mentors. Silverhand worked with Espion, who already helped us out in the chat today. Thanks, Espion. Scoople, Ricky of Kokery, and Vortex of Dune. And I personally worked with Silverhand for the last 2 weeks. So personally excited for Silverhand. But of course, seeing all of these mentees grow over the last few weeks has been pretty awesome. Who's Hannah Samaria? All right, that's some good tech early in the game.
Nice to find that nice and early as well. We have got some great items so far early in the game. Really is going to open this thing wide open, I think, once we get a Dark World access. We're still looking for that, of course. Need either that hammer or the Titan's Mitts, and then, of course, the Moon Pearl. We have got plenty to do before then, even.
One thing that Kana Samaria really helps out, of course, you got to use it to get through Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, but being able to do the Icebreaker move if we end up going into Ice Palace, or making the Diver Down move in Swamp Palace a lot easier than having to use bombs. So that is a great mobility item later in the game for some tricks. So that it's always nice to have that early in the game.
Here we see Couch just really well executing the back half of Eastern and jumping into Armos Knights and going for the top right position. Very, very cool to see that as well. That is not necessarily easy, and really executing this heavily, or very, very well. A couple missed arrows there, but not too big of a deal. We'll clean this up nice and quick.
That's the fast enough kill. That was right there.
It's the fast enough kill. Yeah, I like that.
So one thing, now that we have our first crystal, one thing all of the mentors have pushed their mentees to do, and something that's really important to be doing when you're racing, is thinking ahead 1 or 2 steps. So hopefully these runners were thinking about what they're going to do next. We've got lots of things open. There's all of South Shore area still available. Of course, there's the escape and Uncle checks. There's a little bit of mountain access. So we'll have to see what they're going to try next. We think South Shore. Okay, we're going to see something from Sanctuary from Couch. Might be the back of escape check here. Pretty easy.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. I was gonna say, you mean you're not supposed to just stare at your tracker for 3 minutes after every dungeon trying to figure out what to do? That's my go-to move. So yeah, glad to see that they've learned a little more than I have.
And it looks like, to speculate, Couch is maybe going to the mountain check. It does have, like, Paradox Cave is open, which is quite a few checks.
And mountain's wide open in logic, even with the lantern there, or the lamp. So yeah, I think this is a great check. Lots to do up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because you don't know if it's the right play until you open the boxes. But getting Paradox Cave, being able to use the hook shot over there does make it a good play. But also you're not getting access to Hera yet. You're not, no Dark World access yet. So some runners would take a little break off that. But it kind of depends on what you hit. Also, if you think your opponent might be doing something else, if you want to try to one-up them and try to metagame a little bit, maybe you take a little tour and see what you get. You might get a little advantage that way.
Yeah, and Couch has got that one game lead right now on Silverhand, and so maybe taking a little bit of a risk here, but really, I mean, has a lot to do up here, so we'll see what happens there. And Silverhand not finding a whole lot in the back of Escape, but does find the key, so going to go to Dark Cross here and see what we can find in the further back of Escape.
Nothing inside or on top of Spectacle Rock. It's definitely worth making this check up here because you can just hop down as Couch is about to do and hook shot over to the east side. Don't make sure you try to check stuff as you're going. Don't get too out of the way. You don't want to abandon stuff like Spectacle Rock. So it's worth climbing up that mountain to get that check out of the way.
Just the net. So Aga required. Is that what we're seeing there?
Maybe that advanced cross keys mentor tournament one day.
one day.
But we're going to see Couch with several checks here. I think 7 checks here. And then an 8th on Spiral Cave. So there could be something here if the hammer or something that gives Dark World access. Anything that's big, even a sword, something that starts leading you towards Aga even, or Moonpearl could be a huge thing up here for either runners, depending on who gets there first.
Yeah, definitely. And so not finding anything yet for Couch, and Silverhand going into the dam, it looks like. So we're going to see what we have there on those 2 checks, and maybe going to finish up with the South Shore as well, heading over to the east. We get a shield, a book. Book's nice to see. The flippers. Oh, man. This is looking good for Couch right here. 20 rupees.
And the Moonpearl.
Ooh.
So many treasures on the mountain, that's for sure. Meanwhile, on Silverhand side, there is a little clip you can do with the hook shot. You can clip through that block and the fire rod. Okay, that's really good. Not quite as good as the treasures on the mountain, but it's going to be handy for sure.
Yeah, going to be handy, but not really out of the way. Not a one-off check. So Couch will definitely be fun in that fire rod eventually. And we've got Quake up on the floating island. Once we get a mirror, we'll be able to get to that Quake if we need it. We may not even ever need to see that Quake again, but good to know we'll have the ability to get there pretty quick, maybe.
Got a mushroom on Silverhand's side. Early mushroom is always interesting. The other thing is, just in case they want to do it with this Canis Samaria and mushroom, they can do a fake powder effect on the magic bat. So with they don't have the hammer yet, of course, but sometimes that is a relevant early out of logic check that sometimes pays off pretty big. So we'll see if the mushroom gets used as a turn-in or it gets used as a fake powder effect. And Couch is going to clean up the South Shore that Silverhand has been finishing up here.
Heading down to the dam, going to get their fire rod as well. And then we got Silverhand going here into Ice Rod Cave. Let's see what the cold box has for us. Just another shield. Nothing of major consequence.
Hey, I was watching Silverhand check Mini Molderm. Did we see Couch do Spiral Cave?
We did. I don't think there was anything there that I remember seeing. A couple bucks, I think, maybe.
Yeah, and as chat's pointing out, getting those flippers before coming to the South Shore, I'd imagine we might see Couch. He's got enough money. They've got enough money to check Zora, so we might see them head up there and do those water checks while they're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the money on hand, as we were talking about earlier, is always nice. And we get an ice rod from the uncle. Very kind of you, Uncle. Appreciate that ice rod.
So when you're reading a seed, I'm no expert on seed reading for sure, but you think about what items you get early in the game. We've got Turtle Rock nailed down, right? If one of those medallions, like if Quake, for example, is accessible, something, you know, if Turtle Rock is a medallion, I mean, a pendant, it might actually have something good because of how early we've got access to those items. So be interested to see if some of these things matter later in the game.
Yeah, we'll see where that points them to. I mean, depending on how soon Couch finds that ice rod, and you know, obviously Silverhand is ready to go now as well. We'll see what happens when they find out that medallion requirement, and we can go from there. But yeah, it is interesting to see those items so early on. It really puts your mind there, since that's really the only thing you ever need that ice rod for is for Turtle Rock. We've got Silverhand here, gonna do the prison break sequence.
And Couch is going to do some flipper checks, which makes perfect sense to me. This will be a big, I won't say turning point because it's a long race, right? But if there is something big here, this could be a big advantage for Couch. Obviously, having the Moon Pearl already is a big advantage, but we'll have to see, you know, if Silverhand is about to find the hammer potentially, right? That's a big evener. So there's a lot of things that can happen, just a map there. But, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen in a long race. But so far, Couch has some advantages because of what he got. They got on the mountain.
Definitely, and Silverhand using that fire rod to great effect without having a sword. Still, we've got 20 minutes in, no sword, and using that fire rod really, really well. We've got the hobo check here for a piece of heart. It was nice to see them. Yeah, the Moon Pearl and the flippers just tied together. So when you want to do those flipper checks, you already have that Moon Pearl. It makes it just a little bit simpler to get into the waterfall of wishing there.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting there is, you know, Silverhand, if he wanted to do the flipper checks with a fake flipper, you know, Moon Pearl being right next to the flippers, you know, wasn't going to make that enticing since you can't get into the waterfall. So, you know, there wasn't really an option at all for Silverhand to try to get these checks done earlier. So hopefully we'll see what Couch gets here.
And looks like we might see Silverhand going up the mountain. So just going to be finishing up some of the stuff that Couch has already done. And nothing really in the waterfall for Couch, but moving on up to Zora. See if we got a scam fish or maybe a fish that'll give us something that we want to see.
Silverhand off, getting his lumberjack check, knowing that it's just some rupees. Ooh, the mirror off the Zora.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Now, interesting though that Couch already did the mountain, so you know, we're going up a second time. But of course, Silverhand, you know, this is a kind of a 2 mountain requirement if you didn't fake flipper somehow. But again, no real reason to fake flipper in that situation. So this is kind of essentially a required double dip of the mountain, at least, maybe even a triple dip.
Yeah, good to see Zora pay off there, and again those rupees paying out. You know, always good to have them on hand, and man, Zora giving the mirror. We appreciate that, big fish. Appreciate that. And we got Couch going over to the desert area. Let's see what we have over here. Gonna be able to open up desert with that book.
Yeah, Cassidy Moen, as we shouted out earlier, was Couch's mentor 5 of the 6 weeks, saying in the chat that normally they recommend that Couch wait on the mountain in those situations. So this time, I guess they're on their own, and so far it's paying off.
So far it's paying off for him, absolutely.
And we found flippers and Moon Pearl on the mountain. We know Quake is on the floating island. Silverhand is about to get all that information in those items.
Okay, big key in the first chest there in desert. Not boots locked yet. Can definitely at least get to the back, and we do have fire source. There is a small key, so 2 items behind that small key that could hold something. So we'll see what happens if those boots show up eventually. There's our first item in desert as well, so only 1 item left in here. So, you know, really kind of maybe not a gamble, but we'll see Couch go to the back island and beat Landmo. I think we have everything we need to get.
Yeah, with the fire rod, that's one of the best things to wail on Landmo. So no problem there. Especially if you would do it anyway, but you know, it's extra value if it turns out that Landmo has that second item. You don't even have to worry about when you're getting the boots. You know, boots might not be required for this. That sword may never happen, you know, so it'll be interesting to see.
Silverhand doing Spiral Cave reminded me to shout out our tracker H-Tom, who corrected me in saying that there was in fact a bottle in Spiral Cave here. I think I said there was nothing, but there was a bottle. So we had a trackable item and a nice one at that. Puts another check-in logic, and good to have those bottles for future potions.
It's be interesting to see where Silverhand goes next here. I wonder if he's going to do the desert play too. Maybe that 50-50 bomb rock, that's great. Oh, he's got to do flipper checks, probably.
Yeah, that would make sense. Got the flippers, got that moon pearl, can fully clear out the Zor area, and heading over to Hobo right now and then sees those silvers on the island.
And they pretty much have the items to get that at some point. You know, they've got the mirror, so you know, whenever they get around to it. But Ice Palace being a pendant, you wonder if they go out of their way to grab that. We'll have to see if maybe Swamp Palace is part of the play or not today.
Yeah, I would have to think you do. I mean, it just saves so much time on the Ganon fight. I mean, it does seem a little out of the way, especially if you don't have to do Ice Palace. And maybe this is just me and my skill level talking, but I certainly I do everything I can to find those silvers, especially when I know where they are.
Did we get an item on Lamolus? I did not see. I don't think we did.
I did not see it either. I was watching Silver. I'll have to watch the restream back, see what we found here, or chat will let us know. Looks like it was just a compass, and Silver trades a B for a B at the waterfall ferry.
So Couch is going to go up to Hera. Makes sense. It's a crystal. Clear those 3 crystals out already in the light world. Also be able to do a hair pot because they have the hook shot. So we'll get to see if they've worked on that on the non-boots version of hair pot. A lot of people, you know, they start out with the running hair pot. The 2 different ways to do it with boots. We'll also get an ethos. That is the flute.
That is a flute. All right, flute on the ether check.
Flute is behind now. So we need 2 swords to get to that one.
Yeah, we're gonna need 2 more swords, and then we can have our flute. Then we can have our duck and fly wherever we want.
So in Hera, there is a trick called the hair pot maneuver, and what it is it allows you to skip a couple floors here by, you know, you basically are going to hook shot yourself into that left pot that's in the upper left. It is tricky to do as while you're walking, and you know, being that these are all new runners, a lot of them haven't really worked on that yet. I imagine we'll see Couch being able to do that in plenty of time when they have a chance after this tournament. But if you can't really do that, it's much faster to not try and just right on through the normal way.
Using the B, this is great. Using the B up in the second floor here, and yeah, that was another cool thing to see with the mentor tournament is the boots camp beforehand, right? And I think P-Train, I mean, I could be butchering who it was that did it, but somebody held they did a week long of just dungeon routing and everything such as that, you know, tricks and boss fights, and it was just really cool to watch the whole community come around, all these runners who are interested in getting better, and here we are seeing the fruits of that. So 50 rupees there. We got a compass. Couch gonna fall down and make the hike back up after. Oh, no, saving quitting. Not a Hera. Okay.
They don't have a weapon to defeat.
Oh yeah,
Moldorm actually. How often does that happen? Yeah, that's what happens. So still great. Makes sense to go check those, make those checks. You do everything except for Moldorm. Didn't get a small key, so now Couch is going to do the escape check. They'll find their ice rod. Not much else. So looking at what's left, I mean, we've got Mushroom, we've got the bottle or Sick Kid, right? And I believe that might be all that's left right now that we haven't seen yet. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, that is about what's left. Not a lot to do here, and we are still looking for our Dark World access, or else it is that net is coming into. We're using that net for Aga. Well, we don't even have access to Aga yet, though.
No, we need a cape.
Yeah, we need
a sword to swing the to swish the curtains. So yeah, it's got to be Mushroom or Sick Kid, and this could be a chance for Silverhand to make up some time if he chooses not to go to Hera after this and tries to go check those other checks first, while Couch is in escape. It's probably about the same amount of time that they're going to spend by the time Silverhand gets to the back to Lamo. So we'll have to see what happens.
Have we seen Agina? We might see, or did Couch do Agina after Desert? I don't recall.
I assume they both did Agina. It would be weird for them both to skip that.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, and chat, everything is one-on-one. No mentors this time. This is just a regular open tournament at this point. It's single elimination, best of 3. Couch is up 1-0, so if Couch wins this, they'll move on to the next round. Silverhand needs to win this one to stay in the tournament. But while we see these checks happen, I just want to do a quick shout out. Of course, Morgcl is co-commentator. Thanks for being here today. Tom Servo is our tracker, and Trey Spyre is our restreamer. So give them all a follow, and at least a thank you for spending time with us tonight. A big shout out to the sponsor, the host, whatever you want to call those guys, the Go Mode Podcast. Every other Wednesday is a new episode. You can get it on Spotify, on iTunes, everywhere you can see. Of course, you probably heard about this through the Discord. Definitely give those guys a follow, a subscription, a listen, a recommendation, everything. And they, that's that, and all of the admins, everybody who's been working to make this tournament happen. Big thank you and shout out for all of them. We would not be here without you. So Silverhand's going to make that Agina check now.
Here we go. And yeah, absolutely. And follow the runners too. They have been putting, we're here talking right now, but it's really the runners, the mentors who have been putting in so much time. So make sure you follow them as well. I know there's already links in the chat. So give those links a follow also. They have been working hard for the last 6 weeks to really just get better at this and compete. And we got a heart in Agina, so nothing huge.
So this is a big play for Silverhand if he chooses not to go he's going to the mountain. All right, so you don't know what you don't know, right? And there's stuff up here still, so it definitely makes sense. So we'll have to see what Couch is going to check first after this, but we do have the Mushroom and we do have Sick Kid as our viable options next.
Yeah, I think the play makes sense from Silverhand. A couple more checks here. You get at least do the front part of a crystal dungeon. Maybe get that sword or an item that allows you to kill Moldorm. So it absolutely makes sense from him.
Yeah, Couch still has to do the back of escape. One thing to add too, a little trick: if you have the mirror, you can mirror out of the sanctuary. It's very quickly because you're technically in a dungeon and that's the entrance you use. So it's kind of weird like that, but that is a really fast way to get out. You can give the priest a little smooch, get your health back, and then mirror on out of there. So which one? Let's take a little guess here. Do we think the Mushroom is going to be the progression, or do you think Sick Kid? Or you could say both. What do you think?
Oh man, let's just get one of each, right? And
that early Mushroom.
Yeah.
When I see early Mushroom, I want something from that.
That early Mushroom was a little interesting, no doubt, and it does always kind of pique your ears a little bit when you see that when you're playing. So I'm sure we'll see that one first, but
I think this answers our earlier question that Couch may not have done Agina.
Yeah, which is peculiar, but Agina is one of those checks that does just feel like it takes a long time. I mean, after Desert is the most sense to, or the time that makes the most sense to do it. As now Couch is wasting a little more time to come back to do it, but it is just a one-off, and just does feel like it takes a long time. And here we see Silverhand trying to figure out what to do with the beetles as well. Has a bow. Oh nope, no bow. I believe
that Samaria would probably be the best, because that block is going to move those guys around. It's the same as using a sword. All right, Silverhand's probably realizing doesn't have a weapon. I would have done the same thing. I mean, it took me a minute to realize why they were leaving, why Couch was leaving before. All right, so they're trying to figure out what's left. Same thing. So, Mushroom or Sick Kid. Looks like Silver's going to go Sick Kid.
Going Sick Kid. Couch back up the mountain.
And funny enough, that little issue Silverhand just had saved him some time, because we know there's nothing past there that he can't get later with a sword or a hammer.
That's
so
true.
This actually is going to help out.
He'll have to climb it again eventually anyway. We know we'll need that crystal. Where's Couch heading here? Oh, here we got Sick Kid with 20 bucks. Does that mean we're at Mushroom? I think that's what we have left at this point. Unless Couch knows something that I don't know.
Is Couch going to try Harapot?
Harapot?
For some reason? That one wouldn't help. They can't do anything. They need a small key for it to matter. So that's unfortunate. This game's tough, right? This is only the second game that these players have played on their own. This is a very tricky part, right? It's gotten crazy. They had lots of good progression early, and then nothing. So, this is what makes Rando hard.
This is absolutely the time where I'm staring at my map, my tracker. I'm double checking everything, scratching my head. Did I miss something? And maybe realizing, I have this mushroom, or whatever it is. And when you have one or two checks left, it just feels bad to have to go out of your way for just those one or two things, but here we are getting the boots.
All right, so that's the sword, and probably a hammer or something in Bach Rocks, I would guess.
And it opens up one more item in Desert.
That's true.
So we got another item in Desert as well. So a couple things open up with those boots, and of course the go fast boots makes you a little speedy boy.
So this is a little bit of advantage for Silverhand. It's now even, essentially, because Silverhand will go back to Moldorm later. They both do. So it's now an even race officially because of where they're at. So this is very interesting. Now, we talked earlier about little advantages, disadvantages, and now it's kind of caught up.
Yeah, it's cool to see how, even after some divergence and different choices, I mean, I suppose that's the nature of coming down to the last couple checks, but it's always cool to see it get close right in this middle section of the race. And so we got Silverhand going into Kakariko, going to get that sword. I would be doing the same thing.
So, other thing to point out is we are a sword away from the flute, but also Aga. So if Moldorm could have now they can do Moldorm. So Moldorm could have an item. We've got the item on the right side of Desert.
Yeah.
So those are two very far away checks.
Oh.
So it looks like Silver's going to go up to Moldorm, which makes sense because he didn't see the back. He didn't get those other two checks. So, from their perspectives, these checks make perfect sense. So we'll see kind of which path has led to where here in a second as Couch goes to check the right side of Desert Palace.
Yeah, Couch going to go get that one item out of the right side of Desert, and Silver going to go ahead and kill Trolldorm.
This is great. I mean, this is what Rando is about, and it's hard, and this happens, and this is from the audience perspective, this is awesome. This is what we want to see. Yeah. Nonsense things happening, and real decisions have to be made.
Absolutely, it is. This is the fun part where you get to see the decision making live, and trying to figure out, all right, what are we doing with these boots now? We got them, and two different decisions, which could lead to two different parts of progression, or it could not pay off for one of them, and that's just the nature of Rando.
And I'll show you that. I'll say that, what's interesting is you can tell like there's little nerves happening, right, when you're on your own. I mean, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. You can go ask Dante from the main tournament, right? Yeah. He can tell you how nerves still happen. He talked about the last podcast episode. Silverhand knows how to do dash boots parapod and just went downstairs because he's probably feeling behind or nervous. Yeah. We get it. That's totally what happened.
And Couch went ahead and picked up nothing much, just some Titans mitts out of the right side of Desert. So that was huge progression. That opens up Dark World. I mean, that really opens up the game for Couch here. But even what Silverhand is doing here makes a lot of sense. It's a crystal. You're going to have to do it eventually. And who knows? Moldorm could have an item that we need as well. So if
Moldorm has a sword, it almost negates that whole thing, right? Because absolutely. Silverhand can go right and get that flute. The flute to Desert's faster. Like, this is exciting already. Just the potential that this has.
Yeah, no question. And Couch really making the play has still foregone getting that sword. So knows there's a sword in the library and just gonna hop into Dark Death Mountain without it. I don't need it. Let's just keep going. That's powder and $50 in the bottom of Super Bunny. Silverhand did take an unfortunate Moldorm fall. Trolldorm living up to his moniker there. Really, you can practice this fight over and over, and you'll see even the best runners take a fall in Moldorm.
Ooh, and TR is Quake, which is right there on the floating island. So actually, Couch not getting that sword, kind of interesting because, and we haven't seen a map check yet, but they could go right into TR.
Yeah, really could.
If they had a sword. They can't use the medallion without the sword.
That is a great point. We'll need a sword to use that medallion. I was saying won't be able to open up. Nope, can't even open it up. Never mind.
So we're going to the basement, it looks like, for Silverhand. I would think probably, since you're here and there's only one other check left you can do. I gotta imagine you're gonna go check that. So still some suspense going on there. Oh, duh, no hammer.
Oh, and no hammer. Yeah. Thanks Espion.
Espion is continuing to mentor all of us through the chat. Okay, well, if a hammer was in hookshot, then it would still apply, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we know what we were doing, right? No. Yeah, that is a great point by Espion. We were so focused on that Quake medallion, forgot, you need the hammer to open up that portal.
But getting that information about TR, that was really important. Knowing that you already have Quake. I still don't think we've gotten a map check in the Dark World.
I haven't seen him. No. So yeah, I think we're gonna see now. Couch head over to Village of Outcast. Probably picking up that sword at this point. Gonna mirror for that library and do some stuff in Village of Outcast. Some West Dark World here.
So it obviously depends on comfort level, but I think I would have picked up that sword first because you can't go back to Mothula without a sword. As we see, Thieves Town is a pendant. I got Skullwoods as a crystal. Misery Mire is a crystal. I didn't see the third pendant.
Coach giving us another look at that. I did not either, though.
But getting that sword, knowing it's there, and being able to just clear Moth because it's a crystal, or not knowing it's a crystal or not, getting that sword and going up there with half magic and fire rod and potentially other things. Pendant pod, all right. Pendant pod is often the play.
Pendant pod is always the play. Every stream I've been a part of, tracking and watching, seems like pendant pod always pays out if it is a pendant. So we'll see what happens. And I don't recall what Silverhand got from the basement of Hera. It looks like it was just some money, nothing major there.
So doing the last location to get those Titan Smiths, but you know that's how it rolls sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And heading into the desert now, we'll be relieved to see those Titan Smiths.
Yeah, now we'll see Couch. I mean, Couch can do a couple different things, including the Smith chain. So there's a lot of things to clear up.
So we'll see a dig game first before picking up that sword. Thankfully, the dig game owner lends you a shovel in case you don't have one, so you can go ahead and dig to your heart's content.
And just for everybody out there, remember you cannot take the Smith frog to the dig game. He won't let you do it. So you got to come down and do the dig game first. Then you can go upstairs and grab him and take him back to his house. Just a piece of heart, and he's got 11 already. So he's there. Sorry, they have 11 already. Apologies.
Wants no part of that. Wants no part of that piece of heart. Just gonna keep on going and maybe getting the sword now. Come on, Couch. Let's get that sword. Nope, not yet.
They might have forgotten it's there.
Yeah, I mean it does seem that way, but we'll see. I mean they've been making some really good choices so far. So I have to think that somewhere in the back of their mind they're going to figure it out. But we'll see what happens with that.
Let's get ready with a map check on Silverhand to get anything else we missed. We got him though. Couch opting not to do powder, a magic bat there though. There's plenty of time to come back and do some of these checks as well. Silverhand's going to head into Crystal Skull Woods.
Yeah, it has everything that he needs to clear it. Has that fire rod, has a sword to get to the back. Fighter sword Morgcl is certainly a fight to behold, but with that fire rod, half magic, that's certainly going to help out making that fight go a little smoother.
So one thing about Skull Woods that's interesting, that there's a good divide between runners on whether to check them as overworld checks or to wait until you actually have to clear the dungeon. A lot of runners, Crystal or Pendant Skull Woods, they'll wait until they're ready to clear it. Where a lot of runners, including myself, will check Skull Woods as if it was overworld. So kind of the first time you go in the Dark World and Village, you go head up there, get those checks done just to see, there's a nice, interesting division of thought on that one.
Yeah, it has been interesting to hear thoughts about that. I always tend to, if I can clear it, get up there and do it. If it's a crystal and I can't, I know I'm gonna have to go back there eventually anyway, and so I'll just kind of put it off. Though that has bit me in the past, and I suppose again that is just rando for you. You make some wagers, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes you end up wondering why you did the things you did.
And Couch, unfortunately, a little bit of fumble there with the purple chest out of K45. You just have to be a little careful. You don't want to leave your chest behind. Sometimes picking up the bushes and doing some other things there could be a problem if you leave your portal in the wrong spot. So just going back to get that, not a huge deal, just a little bit of time lost though. As we see Silverhand going right to the back towards Morgcl, going to take care of Morgcl with half magic, 10 hearts, so though half and half energy, but he does have a blue potion, I believe he bought when he went to the Mushroom House.
Yeah, that blue may come in handy here. Morgcl, another one of those bosses that can get out of hand. The moving spikes, the moving floor, Morgcl charging at you can get a little crazy, but really doing well so far on this fight.
Purple chest is just a giant stack of rupees. We will see a check on the Bombos tablet.
Silverhand making the smart play, taking that blue potion. I think only a hit or two away from taking Mock down, but faster to take the blue potion than dying here. So definitely the play there. If you have the potions, use them if you think you might be taking a death there.
So crystal-wise, this gives Silverhand his third crystal. a fourth crystal actually, so he does take a 2 crystal lead, but of course Couch has seen a little bit more of the world in terms of checks, so it kind of balances out in a little bit. So it's hard to tell kind of who's ahead, but capabilities wise, because Couch has already been up on the mountain and seen some things on Dark Death Mountain, that kind of balances out the time. We're also getting a hype cave check.
Hype cave check, 2 out of 10 maybe. Let's see what happens here. We got some money, some piece of heart, 10 arrows, piece of heart, 10 arrow. Oh, my 2 out of 10 was generous.
So now we're gonna have to see, if Silverhand's gonna go into Thieves Town. Couch went right for Smith Chain, which turned out to be nothing. Left some things like Magic Bat behind, and also did not go into Thieves Town. So it'll be interesting to see if Silverhand checks those first 4 checks at least. When you have Pendant Thieves Town, it's kind of tough. You got to think about, do you want to do? And Swamp Palace is wide open as a red crystal, so this makes a lot of sense too.
Yep, going into Swamp is.
Oh, but they don't have the hammer. So again, that hammer.
That hammer. One of those items when you're this far in the game, you almost kind of assume you have. I know I've been there. But yeah, no hammer, so not going to be able to get very far into Swamp here.
Just going to get 1 check, the bombable wall.
1 check.
Which might have hammer.
So might have a hammer. I've seen it. That is, that could happen.
But wow, this is an exciting race. This is a great one to watch. Yes, these are new runners, but these have been some really intense decisions that had to be made that, runners of all difficulty have to make all the time. So I think this is a good one to be watching for sure.
Absolutely, and the seed has given, and the seed is taken away as it does in Rando. So Couch with the 1 check out of Swamp here is a compass. Gonna have to dip out of here. And we saw the big key in Thieves Town from Silverhand, so good to see a Thieves Town dip. I do like coming in here, especially when you have the boots. You feel like you can just zip through here. Even when it's a pendant, it is one of those dungeons that at least the first 4 kind of feel like overworld as well.
When it's a pendant, you gotta treat those 4 as basically overworld checks. Just go in though real quick, especially if they have the mirror, because you can get out really quick. You don't have to take a death warp or anything. So we'll have to see what happens, and then you kind of make the decision based on how many items you get. If you get 1 item here, maybe you want to do the back, but of course you got to look at do you think you're ahead or behind? What's your equipment looking like? There's all the different variables that normally go into it. As Couch is going to get their silvers.
Couch going to get the silvers, and Silverhand getting 1 item out of the front of Thieves Town. Not what you love to see, but is going to go ahead and mirror out and headed down to now south Dark World. Maybe going to check K40. Oh, big game K45. Do that chain. Kind of pick up some of what Couch has already done.
And Couch making a great play here to swim over to be able to go do a pod check. I think that's going to be that's a great heads up play. Yeah. Pendant pod's always the play, right? I know if Lumaga, if you're out there in the chat, my mentor from last year, pendant pod is always the play. So let's see if it is the play today.
And I'm seeing now, Couch has no sword with the dashing, and I think at this point we have to assume that they forgot it, and that's tough. That's hard to see. We've all been there. We've all forgotten stuff, but I mean, at this point, you would have to imagine that that's what's going on.
And it'll be interesting to see if we can get. So Silverhand doesn't have the powder and turned into mushroom, so there's not going to be a fake powder here. And Couch did not do the magic bat, so we still have that as an option as well for later. It'll be interesting to see if that was left something.
We got Couch in the shooter room, I believe this is called. Small key. Kind of what you can expect from the front of Palace of Darkness. A lot of small keys in the front, all the businesses in the back. Kind of the reverse mullet of palaces, if you palaces, if you will.
I like it. And there's definitely a division of thought, whether to have continued for Silverhand to the back of Thieves Town or to keep going. I mean, you got Hype Cave. There's like 7 or 8 checks just on the way. If he's thinking he can swim over to Pod as well, there's, we've got Catfish and the pyramid. They can get to 2 checks up at the the graveyard area. There's still a lot of stuff to look at, and of course, Silver has got the mountain that he hasn't seen yet. So, from his perspective, there's a lot of options.
Yeah, Silver has been really focusing in on those dungeons. It seems it could pay off down the line. There, hammer in the shovel. Wow!
I didn't even see anybody pick up the shovel. Was that the Thieves Town item?
You got me. I did not think it was. I thought we got a crystal out of there, but maybe it was. Yeah. Wow. What an item. What a find.
That's massive. I mean, there's still whatever's Pendant Pod could still have progression. There's still a lot of items, but that is a huge pickup for Silverhand. Does anybody know where the shovel was? I think we all missed it.
What's out? Yeah. But yeah, what a big find. I mean, we know
it has to be Thieves Town, right?
I think it has to be. Yeah. I mean, we know that Couch at the very least will not be able to finish this pod now. I mean, not that they ever intended to, with it being a pendant, but sometimes it just leads you that way to finish it up. And well, we're gonna need that shovel, and then we're gonna need that hammer to do that first.
So, I've said it like 6 times already, but we'll keep saying it. This advantage, disadvantage, back and forth, right? The path you take leads to some other decisions that maybe the other runner doesn't get. And we've seen that already happen with Couch. Silverhand now has the hammer. We buffooned it where we said, oh, you can go to TR. Well, now he has the TR capabilities when he goes up there. So he could clear TR. I mean, it's going to be tough with just a fighter sword, but, getting that Quake up there, his first chance, that's one less dip that he's going to make. That's going to add to the time. So it's going to be very interesting what's happening now. Oh, Skull Woods, right? Yes. Yeah. So one of the 2 differences, Silverhand went into Thieves Town for those 4 checks and cleared Skull Woods already. That's the difference between Couch's and Silverhand's equipment.
Absolutely. And again, another massive shout out to H-Tom for keeping us honest here on the comms. Just doing a great job tracking so far, and let us know what's actually going on here. And then we do see Silverhand going into Swamp Palace. We'll be able to get a little further than Couch was, and so we'll see what happens here, or what we have here in Skull Woods, the other 5/6 crystal. So a play that I like a lot right now.
Swamp Palace, yeah.
Oh yeah, Swamp.
This is a major momentum swing for Silverhand. I think I think he was quite behind for a little bit the last maybe 10 minutes or so, and I feel like that was a massive swing. So Couch, sending all the vibes through the internet, like maybe he needs to make those choices to head towards that shovel. But those are crystals. So Skullwoods was a crystal. It does draw you there, but Couch is probably going to do Catfish and Pyramid while they're over here. So
yeah, I would have to imagine that's the thought as well. I mean, you kind of went the long way around to get to the side of Dark World without the hammer. So let's do all the stuff that we can while we're over here. Makes sense to me as well, and it could pay off as well. I mean, and we'll see what Catfish has. We'll see what Pyramid has. But Silverhand, after finishing this Swamp Palace, will be able to do it maybe a little bit more efficiently, being able to bring the big bum over here, get the pyramid checks as well. So we'll just have to see what happens here. But we've got, what is that? The heart container?
Yeah, heart container. And just to point out, they're a sword away. Silverhand's 1 sword away from being able to go get Flute off of Ether Tablet while they're up there to get TR done. I mean, so there's some stuff happening where Couch, unfortunately, seems to have forgotten the first sword is on Library.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to find 2 swords. So there's some definitely progression momentum that could happen. If this could just explode for Silverhand and just become an execution thing. So this is very exciting. Just how back and forth it's been so far.
Yeah, it really has been. Lots of really good execution as well so far, and it has been a good race and fun to watch. But yeah, we will have to see something happen for Couch here. Maybe something here and something here from Catfish to really feel like we have that advantage going their way again. So far, nothing yet. It's been a tough going on in Dark World for Couch right now.
And you see a diver down from Silverhand. There's Bombos. That's just nice to have.
Clean diver down from Silverhand. Very clean.
We mentioned earlier about how good the Cane of Burna is, Cane of Samaria, excuse me, the red one, is good to have because it makes these tricks a little easier. You can do it with bombs. It's a little harder. You know, you got to line it up more accurately. With the Cane of Samaria, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and Silverhand executed that just really, really well. Saves just so much time when you do it first try like that. So really just showing off a little bit how much he's learned over the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure not on his own, of course, but really has put in the effort to learn those tricks that help make him go fast.
Now, we know Quake is on the mountain as Silverhand is going to take down Argus here. We know Quake's on the mountain. We know that Ether Tablet has the flute, which will get you to Misery Mire. So it depends. If Misery Mire is not Ether, then they're essentially Master Sword. Silverhand's a Master Sword away from Go mode with where we're at. So, you know, it depends on what Misery Mire is, of course, but getting a sword will let us see that, and we'll really push that. So again, going back to Couch's side, we're talking about like ways to catch up here. Couch is probably going to be doing Skull Woods and be on the path here. So with some good execution and some you know, maybe some good luck where Silverhand has to venture off looking for a sword or something else, you know, they could catch up pretty quickly too. So it's definitely not over. It's not that huge of a gap. It just Silverhand is in a really good path right now.
Oh yeah, I think Silverhand absolutely has the advantage here, but and that is the nature of Rando. I mean, here we go, Couch going to the library, getting that sword, maybe kind of banging their head against the wall for a little too long, and remembering, oh yeah, it's a sword I should probably go pick up here.
So this will be interesting to see if Silverhand's going to go back in for a couple items still, or continue along, because there's lots of stuff to check. I mean, it comes down to, you know, are they going to gamble that Ether is not important, you know, or if they can come try to find a sword somewhere else, they're going to go back in.
Silverhand gonna go check left side swamp. I think at this point, with still just the fighter's sword, a couple more items we'd like to see. Gonna go see what we have on the left side, what swamp has to offer for us.
And Couch is gonna go up to, it looks like, to defeat Moldorm. You know, kind of being there might have definitely what I mean. We've seen from our perspective, we've seen that Skull Woods is the play because of what was in there, but. You know, it makes sense still. You've got an unfinished dungeon here, crystal dungeon with an item. You never know what we're going to find there. And to point out, though, that, you know, there's still Ice Palace. Green Penna Ice Palace is wide open. Of course, TR is open now for Silverhand once he gets the Quake off the floating island. There's a lot of other checks to do. So finding a Master Sword, you know, or potentially Ether. If Ether is somewhere out there, that's going to make this seed really interesting, if that's important for Misery Mire.
Yeah, that's really the thing Couch has to be, or the hope Couch has to be holding on to right now. Doesn't necessarily know that. We certainly have that knowledge right now, but Silverhand with one medallion in hand, knowledge of another one, does make Misery Mire fairly likely to be able to open up. And yeah, really getting to the point where Go mode is getting closer and closer.
Silverhand also has the ability to buy the big bomb now with both 5/6 crystals, so Parametry could also be an option as well.
Absolutely. Couch finding that small key on Moldworm, but more importantly, getting their third crystal. And we'll see Silverhand getting a map out of the first check on the left side of Swamp. And how about some bombs? Gonna mirror right out and see where Silverhand wants to go next after this.
And it looks like, yep, heading up to the big bomb. Or maybe not. Yep, just a detour.
Or maybe.
Oh,
yeah,
Hype Cave. Hype Cave. That's right. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, and so this is where some even and out can happen, where he's got a lot of things to check still. But
yeah, and now would be a great time if he remember that it's there to get those silver arrows off the island as well, just kind of right here.
Yeah, and knowing that Misery Mire is on the docket for the day, you might want those silvers just to make Vidi faster. That's going to make up the time. Of course, with only one sword too, you might only be playing with Master Sword Ganon today. So there's 2 good reasons to go grab those silvers, even if they were way out, even more out of the way than they are. So maybe, okay, he's going to remember that.
I'm not sure what we have going on Couch's screen there. It was stuck in a block, maybe just taking the coffee break to check over their map and maybe figure out where they're going next after this. Thought maybe we had a little bit of a freeze there, but just taking some time to calibrate here.
That's a good point just to think about. Like, even if you're not stuck on a peg like that, if you need to take another quick second to think about what you're doing, you're going to save more time by making that little thought process, that decision, than if you're starting to run down the way and then go, oops, just kidding, I don't need to go that way, or I should go back the other way.
No question. And it's not that, Couch doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. I mean, they've been undefeated through this entire tournament so far, and so we know that they have got what it takes. I mean, this seed has not necessarily been kind to them so far, but absolutely is far from out of this. I mean, can really execute to catch up. And here we got Silverhand picking up the big bomb to go blow up the pyramid. Couch jumping into the dark world. We here in the comms booth are certainly hoping to see a Skullwoods play, and it does look like that's where Couch is going. So that is, we like to see that. Kind of keeps it interesting on our end.
All right, let's see what the Pyramid Fairy has. Silverhand's going to rush over and check the ledge as well.
Go ahead and get that heart container. Jump over, grab the pyramid items, 2 chests.
Sanctuary heart too, so filled it up.
Hey, good luck for Silverhand for that to be Sank heart. Pyramid Fairy giving us next to nothing. A fairy in the bottle for your 100 rupees to buy the bomb, and $21 back to help you, a little bit of a rebate on the bomb as well.
And it makes sense. Silverhand's probably going to go to do Catfish now, or no, gonna do Pod. Interesting. I wonder if did Silverhand not get to check what TR is? Is that possible?
I don't think Silverhand saw the.
He was up there because he did those, but I don't. Well, he has actually. That's right. So he has not been into the dark side of the Death Mountain, Dark World. So he has not been aware of that quake, which is a huge thing to not know, because he could be just there to take on Turtle Rock. So again, another opportunity for Couch to make up some time. So this is not over. Especially if Couch's execution is well here. So.
Yeah, Couch dropping down into the Morgcl fight. Has a bit more magic than Silverhand does. I don't know if Couch has bought the potion, so coming in here on 5 hearts, and then remember, opted to not pick up the blue mail early, so potential for some big damage output here from Moth, but really dodging everything with just expert skill here, and does that beautifully. Very, very good from Couch.
So I wonder if we'll see Couch go into Thieves Town at all. What they'll do next, while Silverhand's going to clean up all the pod checks that we've already seen from Couch's side.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. With only one item, I believe it was in the front part of Thieves Town, it really, it's one of those dungeons, doesn't have a lot of item requirements. You need the hammer for one check for the big chest, but other than that, it's really pretty wide open. And so it's one of those dungeons that can just have stuff in it because there's not a lot of stuff that locks you out of it. So I would like to see that back happen. And it may be garbage, but yeah, I'd like to see it. Maybe for myself here.
And while we're taking some time to watch the runners kind of clear each other's items up, let's just remind everybody to give runners a follow. These are new runners. They're really new to the game, which just is amazing to see how great they're doing with some of these difficult seeds. But definitely give them a follow. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the league, in the open league this coming couple months, or other tournaments coming up, other things. You'll see their names again, I'm sure. So you might as well get on their follow list now. Also, again, big thank you to co-coms here, Morgcl. We've got our tracker Tom Servo and our restreamer Trey Spyre. Thank you so much, everybody, for working with us tonight. Definitely give those folks a follow as well.
Thanks to you, Jaws. This has been for being my first commentary and without tech issues. It's been a great time so far. So appreciate you kind of taking me on your wing a little bit, and it's been a good time, and it's been a great race. And there's that shovel that we apparently missed on Couch's side.
Yeah, we're getting to do a mentor tournament of communications tonight. That's good.
Absolutely. and that's something else I'll point out, that the mentor tournament has been a great place for not just runners. They've really opened it up and allowed for people who want to get into commentary, get into tracking, and just volunteering, restreaming, all of that to help out, and given an opportunity for myself and for many other people. So it's really a cool thing for the community. I just love what they're doing over there at the Go Mode podcast, and this tournament has been a huge success, I would say.
Yeah, and it gets bigger every year. So if you're watching this now and you haven't done this yet, or you're just thinking about jumping into this game, hopefully, I'm sure the Mentor Tournament 2022 will be your chance. So definitely subscribe to the podcast, follow this Twitch, as we get another bottle in the Graveyard Ledge for Couch. But definitely follow everything that the Go Mode podcast does when you can, and you'll hear about it, I'm sure. So it's been so successful, I can't imagine they would not keep doing it. So
yeah, it really has been. This year they had to cut off signups. I signed up and just missed the cutoff there, so I didn't get a chance to race this year. So yeah, they really have had a lot of interest, and it's great to see. This is just such a great game. The community behind it has been nothing but welcoming to myself, and I know many other people would say the same thing. So here we go, Couch jumping in to Thieves Town. Go to the back for me, Couch. Go to the back for me. Come on.
Well, Silverhand's going to head towards Helmasaur, so that is an item left. That could be a sword, right? We're looking for a sword, basically.
Yeah.
Silverhand's not sure what he's looking for, but could be a medallion, some things for TR. But we know that TR is Quake, and that's on the floating island. So we need a sword to get the flute off Ether Tablet, of course, to fight Ganon. And then we may need Ether for Misery Mire, but we won't know that until we get the flute after the Master Sword.
Absolutely, and even little optimizations of getting those silvers early makes so much sense. Those mimic rooms go quicker. The Helmasaur fight will go quicker with silver arrows. We know we have to fight Vitreous and Misery Mire. That's going to go quicker with those silvers. So we're seeing those silvers pay off already. So I think it was smart to just pick those up nice and early. And we might have Couch going to the back. All right, yeah, I like this play. Clearly I like this play. I've been rooting for it.
Yeah, and as chat points out, hopefully there's not a sword in the big chest in Thieves Town that Couch cannot get. So let's not. We'll send anti vibes for that big chest to not be part of that here.
The anti-jinx.
That's right. But now that we've said it out loud, sorry, Couch, if you're watching this back, and that's what it is. We didn't mean to.
We tried to anti it. We couldn't help ourselves.
We should also point out that the Ether medallion, if it's needed for Misery Mire, could be on the pedestal. So could a sword. So since all three pendants are now clearable, either of those 2 go mode items could be sitting there on the pedestal. Interesting enough, Silverhand, both players could have checked the pedestal. Oh, there's a sword on Helmasaur.
Sword on Helmasaur. Wow.
That's a potential go mode. We don't know what Misery Mire is, but that's going to lead us to that.
There's always something in Pendant Pod, as they say. There's always money in the banana stand.
So, there are 4 swords in this game, right? So, if there's a sword in Couch's path here, it'll be fascinating. That's going to be a good catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that could not be a required sword. It could be the most required sword. We don't know yet, but it is certainly a nice to find for Silver right now. He's going to be able to clear a couple more things, get that flute off the Ether medallion, or off the Ether tablet, and really open up this game and potential go mode at this point.
I'm good with this move. Going to clear out the Dark World side first, and then head over to get that flute. What's kind of interesting is you kind of want that medallion information off of Misery Mire, but he's going to look for that information from TR first, because you're not sure. He won't know if he's in go mode while he's in TR. But not go mode or yes go mode in TR isn't too big of a deal, especially if you get stuck having to grab a key off Laser Bridge anyway. So it's not too bad, but it's really hard to figure out when you want to get that medallion information in your route.
Yeah, and he doesn't know that he's this close to go mode either. He knows he has 1 medallion in hand, and so just clearing checks on the way up the mountain, absolutely the most efficient way to do it. Why not? We have to climb the mountain. Let's get a couple checks in while we're on the way up there.
And just like chat, if we want to talk about what do we want to see happen in the seed, if we want more Rando, we want Ether to be the medallion for Mire and be on pedestal. So if that's the case, which we'll have no idea probably until that's the end. We see what Blind has here, just a heart piece. They're 1 apiece on pendants, and Silverhand has the longer one done with Helmasaur, but they're about the same in terms of going to the basement like that with Thieves Town.
Yeah, Couch got some pod done, but we're not gonna count too many of our chickens before they hatch. We are still a long way off from that, and I know that chat loves to see that ped, but with only potential of 1 item needed, chances are low at this point.
And I gotta think Silverhand's gonna head right into TR from here. It's just that would make sense.
Yeah, I would think so too. You're right here. We can open it, so let's go ahead and hop in there. There's a lot of items to be had here, and we still know that flute is waiting for us. It's not going anywhere. We can get it later. We don't need it for right now.
Couch is on the Pendant Patrol, heading to Ice Palace. That's been open for a long time, so it makes sense to if you're looking for stuff here. But, they have the hammer essentially by having the shovel, so it's a matter of, making that shovel check before here. But still, Ether or more swords, there's still a couple things that could be out there that could help Couch out a lot.
There absolutely are, and it's one of those things you don't know if you don't know, and we know where that hammer is, and that hammer is locking Couch out of a lot of things, and so we certainly hope that Couch gets to that shovel spot sooner rather than later, but it could easily be here in Ice, and they just don't know that's not the case at this point. But there could absolutely be something here.
Yeah, we don't want to try to get into where there's huge gaps already and try to say, oh, someone, Silver's so far ahead, but Couch really needs there to be Ether here. As we're going to see Couch do Icebreaker. The nice thing about this is we get to see this cool move here, where you use the Cane of Samaria to kind of trick the game into thinking you're still in the door, and so you end up passing right through the wall. It saves so much time. People used to only do the bomb jump. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool trick, and Couch doing the setup that I like to do as well, kind of getting on the pixel and kind of getting clipped into the wall there. I don't know the mechanics of how how it works, why the game lets you do it, but he's doing the setup that I like to do there as well, and just kind of trying to get that right down input and just missing it. But once he gets that, should be good to go.
Yeah. And again, let's not count out Couch yet, but Silverhand does have a pretty good solid lead now in TR. But this is the hardest. They're getting to the hardest part of the game now. They're gonna this room right here. Like survived pretty well there. No harm there.
Great performance in that room there.
But we've only got Master Sword still, so the Hammer Trinex fight is still coming if there's not a sword in here. Getting through Misery Mire, of course, is still on the plate. So it's there's a lot of execution to happen now. The routing's kind of done, unless Ether is a thing. But it's kind of Silverhand's execution time now.
Couch slashing the big key chest after taking a couple attempts to get that icebreaker done, but does get it done and is gonna move on through the rest of Ice Palace. I understand that frustration, slashing the chest there.
And that's going to be the end of Ice Palace for Couch without being able to get that key. That's going to kind of stonewall it there. Yeah, Tempered Sword on the vanilla big key chest.
Oh man!
Now what's fascinating is Silverhand could have skipped that, but I mean it makes sense to check things in case Ether is important. But they could have just stolen the Poke Key and moved on. So that's a very interesting pickup. That's going to speed it up even more for Silverhand. So this is a huge advantage to help with the execution for Silverhand.
Swords getting stacked on top of swords for Silverhand at this point. It is rare to have a fighter's sword at an hour 20 in, and yet here we see Couch in Ice Palace, diving back into Ice Palace. I'm not up on my key logic necessarily for Ice Palace, but isn't Couch completely locked out at this point, or do they have another route through? They may have another route through. I guess I don't know.
I'll be honest, Ice Palace is by far my worst dungeon. I've lost several races to not being able to get through it very well. So, your guess is as good as mine on this one.
Hey, fair enough.
Everybody has their, kryptonite, and that's this one. So, as we see Mimic Cave for Silverhand, again, it makes sense. You don't know that Ether isn't required. I assume maybe he's forgotten that Flute's on the tablet. I'm not sure. So, we'll have to see, but it makes sense. Don't leave stuff behind if you think there could be an item left.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we still need, or may potentially need, another medallion, and finding another sword or finding another mail upgrade, another tunic would always be nice. So, I mean, at this point, I'd be checking a couple things too. We are not officially in any sort of go mode. We're in
go mode?
Go, maybe? Yeah, exactly. Just go mode with a big shrug emoji next to it. That's kind of where we're at right now for Silverhand and Couch. Continuing on through Ice, I guess he did get the big key, or they did get the big key, so could check the big key chest. Check this Freezor chest here as well. There's a fairy in a bottle.
There's a nice clip move you can do here that Couch is about to perform. Easily get through that big chest without having to bomb it.
Just don't try to mirror those blocks out of the way. That won't end well for you. You'll end up back at the front of the dungeon, not having such a good time at that point.
You see Silverhand with the mirror shield taking the laser bridge as intended by the developers. I will say, I mean, Ice Palace is, I think, the most complicated dungeon in the game because of how many different ways there are to get through there with all of the the different tricks like Icebreaker or the bomb jump. And sometimes you can do it without a hook shot and a hook shot jump, bomb jump. So new runners. I mean, this is new runners, expert runners, experienced runners. Like everybody has trouble with Ice Palace at some point. So to see Couch kind of know where to go at least. Like that's awesome. Like they're able to figure out where they're trying to get to at least. That's a good sign.
Absolutely.
It's not the right play now, but that's a great tool to have, is to be able to understand how to get through all the dungeons.
Oh, no question. I mean, that is not an easy dungeon to navigate, especially when things aren't going the way that you thought they would as you're diving into ice. And here we see Couch going over to the shovel spot. We'll maybe gonna bomb or slash at this hammer a couple times. Or maybe just be relieved to be picking up. There we go, little swag on the shovel there.
Ooh, Silverhand taking a death on Trinex. But does have a fairy from the other earlier room in the dungeon. So great pickup.
Yeah.
Trinex hurts.
Trinex does hurt. I think that fairy was from the waterfall or the pyramid fairy.
That's right, the pyramid fairy.
Threw a bottle in there, and well, that was a good bottle to throw.
All right, so Thieves Town done. Assume Silverhand's going to go over and get that flute. Going to check out to see whether we're in go mode with the Meyer medallion necessity there. If it's either, man, where would you go?
Race on at that point if it's either, right? Yeah. I mean, Silverhand has the Back of Thieves to check. Yeah, I mean, Ice Palace. I mean, where do you go? Right? So much to do at that point. So yeah, I think we will see Silverhand go ahead and pick up that flute, and here we go. I mean, Tempered Sword, Blue Mail, what is it, 16 hearts? Pretty well equipped to keep running if we are in go mode, to just go ahead and finish this thing out.
So real quick in the chat, let's do an do an E for Ether, or let's do an M for the medallions I already have. Take a guess. E for Ether, what's the Meyer medallion going to be? E for Ether or M for the other two medallions? Let's put it in the chat since we don't have a poll up. E if it's going to be Ether, M if it's Bombos or Quake. I think I'll be nice. I think it's going to be Quake for both of those dungeons. Morg, do you have a guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. I think let's just use one of the medallions we have. Quake would be great to see, right? And just be done with it. We don't have to let's get in, get out of this thing.
There's Ether.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
There it is.
Wow. Okay. It could now it's probably Ether.
I mean, whew. And yeah, Silverhand really leaving no stone unturned. I mean, if it were me, I would have taken that flute and just gone. But while I'm up here, I'm gonna go ahead check Spike Cave. I mean, really some smart decision making, and well, clearly it may or may not pay out, but the peace of mind is fantastic at that point.
I mean, if the logic, it's all about your path and your style. And Silverhand appears to be kind of a very thorough runner, where if he doesn't know he needs something, or doesn't need something, he's picking up everything. So, this could be pretty epic anyway. Like, yeah. I mean, that would have been the equalizer, I think, the opportunity for Couch to come back if it's Ether, and Silver did not check that. Because that is a last location for sure. It's by Cave by itself.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, if you don't do it when you're already up there, and you never get back. I mean, so yeah, it is absolutely. Let's see what we have here for the Meyer medallion.
Those Bombos.
Okay.
Extra swag for Silverhand for guaranteeing that it doesn't matter. Sorry, everybody who wanted to bend a pedestal.
We tried to jinx it in as many ways as we could, but the seed had other thoughts.
So Silverhand's in full go mode. He's got everything he needs to beat Ganon. Lots of hearts. He probably wants to pick up a potion, maybe on the way to Ganon's tower, but we'll see if he does that. Empty fuel here. Not a lot of hearts or energy, and I believe nothing in the bottles. In bottle, he only has the one. So
perfect full magic, as you were saying it. Yeah.
pretty huge full magic. That's the best time to get that one. So probably going to pick a potion up before he goes to GT. But otherwise in full go mode, so we're not looking for anything here. He's going to probably just zoom as fast as he can. Maybe find that big key and head back to Vidi.
Absolutely. I don't think we really need much else at this point. And yeah, I mean, Couch working their way through Swamp at this point and doesn't have that Bombos medallion either. And so that is just unfortunate news for them. I don't recall at this point in the race where that Bombos medallion lived, but we'll need to find that to finish this thing.
Bombos is in Swamp Palace, so Couch is going to get that on their way.
Right here then. Perfect.
I think it was in the drowned...
In the diver down.
Yep.
Yeah.
The drowned treasures there.
Medallions and diver down rooms. I don't know what it is. I feel like that's a thing. Silverhand working his way through Misery Mire here. Not the God Mire that we all love to see at this point. So having to go a little deeper into the dungeon here. And there's that Bombos, along with the Mirror Shield.
So there is a trick you can do with Misery Mire to make it a little faster. Silverhand didn't do it. So, these are advanced tricks that are kind of low on the list. The Go Mode podcast does a couple, best tricks to learn, and it's kind of on the list, but not too high. But it's called Spooky Action, and you can actually trick the game into thinking you're hitting a crystal in a couple rooms at the end, but you have to do a little setup with it. It involves when you flute into that spot to go in the portal in the desert, you have to come up from the south when you lift that block, and then you also have to do a certain movement with putting the block down in the basement with your Cane of Samaria. But one thing is you cannot use your powder or a couple other items or you'll lose it. And so seeing that Silverhand used his powder there, we know Spooky's not happening, but it's a way to get through the basement a lot quicker without having to maneuver through the maze so much to open those crystals. Well, yes, thanks. You're hitting the crystal. It's true. You're actually there, but it doesn't look like you're there.
Yeah, one of those memory manipulations, I believe. I'm sure Espion could take us to school on that trick for sure. Espion, another one of our great mentors in the chat, really keeping us honest over here. So it does look like Silverhand is going to the cutscene chest. I think that's our last chest here in Misery Mire, so we're going to go ahead and likely get the big key out of that spot.
So as we see Couch doing the menu boss, which is where you go between the hook shot and the hammer to hook in those puffs and then smash them with the hammer. It's a little bit faster, especially if you don't know the spin maneuvers, to be able to take 2 puffs out at once with the fighter sword. But it is very tedious. That's why we call it the menu boss. And 1 silver arrow takes out Argus.
Got Silverhand going into the back of Mire. We'll see if Couch decides to go open up that big chest in Swamp. I would imagine they've got a decision to make. They're still looking for some stuff, and or may just want to get this thing done and kind of just keep moving on and going back into Swamp there. So that's interesting that we talked about Spooky. I think Silverhand was attempting to set it up there with the dash before placing the block. But I believe that the powder does cancel that out, so it may not activate here. Going up and hitting maybe just getting a little practice in for that dash block there.
So as Silver makes his way to the back and Couch is going to finish checking Swamp Palace, just a heads up, we like to play a little game with the Ganon's Tower. It's a tradition of guess where the big key is going to be in Ganon's Tower. So what will happen is as soon as Silverhand beats Vidi and gets ready to head up to Ganon's Tower, everybody in the chat needs to put in the number 1 through 22 where they think the big key is going to be, and we'll count basically whoever gets there first. So Silverhand will count his checks, and it's just a fun game. You get, invisible free internet points that are used for nothing. We used to have a bot. It's currently not working, so we'll just do that manually. So as soon as we see Silverhand take down the shooting gallery with these great silver arrows here.
What's your go-to number, Jaws? Where are you going today?
I like 7 or 8, so I think I'll go 7.
Okay.
I can. The other thing is Silverhand. Just to give you a little inside information here, because I worked with him the last 2 weeks. He likes to go to the right side, grab Hope Room, and then go full left. So if that influences your guess at some point, I'd imagine that's probably what he's going to do.
All right. Well, I'm always 13. It's worked well for me in the past, just picking 13. So we'll see where that big key ends up being. And yeah, Silverhand now fluting up to the mountain, gonna make his way to Ganon's tower.
Not picking up a potion. I mean, but having half magic, having silver arrows, he's got everything he needs. It seems like a little confidence too to boost up there without it. You might think he's a little bit behind and not want to take that time. You never know what situation you're in. This is a good time to bring up, know your own capabilities in a race. Like, know what makes you comfortable and confident. If you needed to get a potion to feel good about your travels, make sure you get that, because a death or feeling less confident about what you're doing is way worse. It's going to take up more time than just trying to rush through it.
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, pretty well equipped here, so must be feeling good. And that the early game could certainly have you feeling like you are behind with some of the wild goose chases that the seed sent you on. So I could understand if Silver was feeling like they got some catching up to do, but really right now is in the driver's seat. Couch has some work to do to catch up at this point.
Yeah, having last location, the mitts there could definitely put you off the rest of the seed. So we'll have to see. But then, from there, finding the hammer, finding some other stuff feels like probably early, because it was only after a few crystal dungeons. We'll definitely ask Silverhand for if he agrees to have an interview after this race is over. We'll have to ask him.
All right, we have Silver going into GT here, and as you said, going directly to the right side. A little insider knowledge there, always cool to hear. And what do we have in the Hope Room here today? Couple bombs and a piece of heart. Mirroring right out, no key. So mirroring out and gonna go ahead over to the left side. So that is 2 checks down.
Couch making good work of the deadliest room in the game with those chain chomps that somehow don't even belong there, but they're still in the game anyway. The only time you see chain chomps in the game, right there.
Yeah, a little bit of a carryover from the Mario franchise. So number 3 in GT was a small key on the torch. Gonna head over here into this Stealthos room, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And there it is, number 4.
Yeah, and it makes sense not to check everything else. If you've already got a key and you've got your silvers and swords and stuff, you can just head out of there. But if you don't have silvers yet, you might as well check those other 3 boxes or 2 boxes. You don't want to leave those there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, grab those $20. Maybe going to leave Ganon a little bit of a tip on his way out of the tower here. But then decided I'm just going to mirror back to the front here and get my climb going. And Couch does find their Master Sword, so that we know is going to be the access to that flute and really kind of open this thing wide open for Couch.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the boot camps that were held before the tournament. I believe that was the P-Train. He did one about the Ganon's climb, or at least he has a really good video tutorial about that. So the nice thing about this Ganon's Tower climb is that it's the same thing every time in almost every mode. So it's something that everybody can practice all the time. There's basic strats to follow in the rooms to go quickly. So it's definitely something that should be on everybody's practice list periodically.
Absolutely. I mean, your equipment may vary here and there, but for the most part, you're going to be sitting on a similar batch of swords and arrows and things of that nature. And yeah, you have to do it every seed, I suppose, unless it's a fast Ganon or something of that nature. But it's something that you have to do every time. It's good to have that really down to make sure that you're comfortable once you're getting to this point in the game.
There's a couple different ways to do this too, depending on what your equipment looks like. But my favorite is definitely what Silverhand's doing. Just if you got half magic, you just burn everything with that fire rod.
Yeah, you'll get a full refill when you need it up here a little further on in the climb. So yeah, why not?
Ooh, and a nice double hit there.
Yeah.
So Couch did not get that, or actually that was the second sword for Couch was the vanilla big key chest into a rock. So they got their second sword. So they'll probably have to opt for the hammer strats on Trinex.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing the Helmasaur kill on Couch's side to get that tempered sword.
Like what Couch did there, you got so much life. Just taking a fall there to get back to the door is a lot faster than slow rolling it up the ramp there.
Silverhand climbs another flight of stairs up another level, and we got Couch going into Trinex. Looking for a smooth fight here. Silverhand just ignoring the chest, just doesn't need anything. Let's get this thing going. Let's get out of here. And really having a good climb. I mean, has really executed well through a lot of this tower. Another thing I like to see is just taking advantage of the safeties that are there, powdering anti-fairies and not taking anything for granted, not assuming that they're going to execute, but really making sure they have a full batch of parts and are going to be able to finish this thing out. Oh, Couch taking a death, but similarly has the fairy there in Trinex. We saw a very similar thing on Silverhand's side.
One thing to add to your practice list too is, don't just do Ganon's tower with boots. Sometimes you get a bootsless seed, and it's important to know how to do that climb without boots as well.
Yeah. Oh, Couch taking a real death there to Trinex. Did have a bit of a safety door, not the safety door that'll save him a bunch of time. That's tough to see. Never like to see that, no matter what position the runners are at.
And Agatu going down here on Silverhand as he prepares to fly to the Big Pig to finish off the race. One thing that's really important too is, if you like a Couch's side taking a fall like that, yeah, it's a bummer, but you keep playing, you keep going until you see dot done on your opponent finish, because you never know, they might be struggling the same.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's never over till it's over. I mean, this race has certainly thrown its ups and downs at you, so you just got to press on and yeah, you never know.
All right, here we go with the Big Pig. Got tempered sword, and we've also got silver arrows, so not too difficult of a fight compared to Master Sword. So we'll see how Silverhand takes it.
Yep, phase 2 already activated, I suppose, for Ganon, and really phase 2 and 3 are where the damage can be dealt. These flying bats can be a little tricky to work with, but take your time, know where they're going, and you should be okay. Doing a great job dodging so far.
This is, of course, another thing that needs to be on everybody's practice list. You don't usually win the game without a Ganon fight, and 90% of seeds that you do with Rando. So when you're finished with that climb practice, definitely take on some Ganon fights too, especially Master Sword fighting.
Gannon getting a couple warps in. There we go, and just like that, through the fourth phase. And 4 silver arrows right into Gannon, and this pig is done.
Silverhand getting the torch glitch with the fire rod there. Not as necessary with silver arrows like this. Oh, just missing that one there.
Yeah, even on its own, not an easy thing to pull off. That torch glitch with the fire rod can be tricky. And there we go. That is the 4th silver arrow into Gannon. And big GGs to Silverhand. Get your GGs in the chat, everybody. What a great execution by Silverhand. Really, really impressive from them.
As Couch takes another fall. It's tough. I mean, you take a fall on Trinax, it's just it's a little, it takes the air out of your sails a lot.
Absolutely does. Absolutely does.
We'll see Silverhand finishing with an official racetime.gg time of 142.57. GG to Silverhand. Get those GGs in the chat. And we see that Couch did decide to forfeit for this one. Fair. It makes sense. It's a long road ahead. A couple of deaths there. They'll get ready for game 3, which is tomorrow. So GGs to both runners. Definitely give our runners a follow. The race finished about 144.52. So we'll have Silverhand here. Actually, we are now here with Silverhand. GG.
Hi, it's GG.
So tell us, just first of all, your reaction to that seed and how it went.
I felt great about that. I think that is some of the best I've ever played, and after the early game, I felt like all of the routing was very smooth and linear feeling to me, at least.
Yeah, you played very, very well. I mean, GG's from myself as well. Great job. I would agree. It did seem like once you kind of got into the dark world, it went right for you. So it's a very nice routing by you.
Thank you.
So that was really exciting to watch, both for Couch, who declined the interview just for now. They're gonna get, like I said, it's late. They're gonna get ready for game 3 tomorrow. We understand, appreciate that. But this just went back and forth for the first hour, and it was amazing because Couch was ahead a little bit. They went up to the mountain a little earlier and found the flippers and the moon pearl, which opened up a bunch of stuff. You were doing some other checks. Then it switched again. It switched like 2 or 3 times. And then what was the big key difference, which you'll see if you watch back, was you went to Skull Woods and Couch kept going all the way to Pod, and you got that shovel, which were the hammer. So Couch just found the hammer maybe 15 minutes ago or so as a last location. So tell us, what were your thought process on, going to Skull Woods that early, or what you were doing there, and then your thoughts on finding the hammer on the shovel spot?
So I really like going to Skull Woods early at this point. If I have sufficient health where I feel like I'm safe going in there, I feel like that's played out well for me a couple of times, and in previous races it's gone well. So that's kind of becoming habit for me. And then when I got the shovel, I had that in the back of my mind. And I feel like that was kind of a common theme with the seed, is there were a lot of items I was remembering for later, and I felt like it was very smooth how I was able to route them in with how the seed went. Like, there was the silvers on Lake Hylia Island, there was the tablet on Death Mountain, which had the flute, and I got that at the end, so... And of course the shovel, like you mentioned. So I feel like all 3 of those being able to smoothly route in with other checks went really well.
It was also interesting too, just the way both of you routed. There's a lot of divergence that opened up specific paths. The linearness, I guess, was dependent on your perspective, because Couch had gone up to the mountain earlier, and then as soon as they got the mitts, they also went to the mountain again, and so they saw Quake for TR. They saw there where you didn't see that until you went up there later. So there was all this kind of intensity of like, Silver going to know to go to TR yet, and you were clearing more, which was giving Couch a chance to come back. And so it's definitely worth a watch back because of how, like, the potential for an explosion of a route there. Tell us, what were your thoughts about looking for medallions kind of at the end? What were you worried about? What were you concerned?
So with medallions, I knew that there was one on Floating Island from earlier, and I was just hoping that if I grabbed that, it would work out. And then I made the play to go into Spike Cave before leaving the mountain there at the end. because I had still not seen Myers' medallion, and I was so happy when that turned out to be the third medallion, which I didn't end up needing, but I felt really good at that point knowing that I wasn't going to have to hunt for another.
Yeah, we said the exact same thing. You know, we were putting bets in chat, wagers in chat. All right, is he going to need that ether medallion? Is he not? And sure enough, you jumped into Spike Cave, and well, there it was. And yeah, I mean, sure, that just really took a huge weight off your shoulders, kind of going down to activate that flute.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is much of an actual pattern here in the logic, but I feel like I've seen medallions in Spike Cave a whole lot. So if I think I might need one of those, I usually check that.
Interesting. Yeah, probably just framing. I mean, the odds don't really change too much. It's just you remember it more, you know, because that's a real late check usually. So
yeah, that's definitely possible.
Little confirmation bias can go a long way, right?
And we had said, while that was happening, like a lot of runners take a more thorough approach. And you and I have worked together for the last couple of weeks, and we take a thorough route, and it makes sense. That's a last location spot if you have to come back to that. Like no one's ever coming back to Spike Cave, so it made sense to check that, I think. But what are your thoughts going into Game 3 now? I mean, you made it to a 1-1 here. The first victory over Couch. Who's done an awesome job. Everybody's done an awesome job. But what's your thought process going into, I believe, tomorrow's Game 3?
Yeah, so a whole lot of respect to Couch. They're a great runner, and going into this series, I was going to try my best and be happy if I was able to take a game, and very happy if I'm able to take the series, but I was prepared to go 0-2, so I was just going to try my best here, and I'm very happy that I was able to take a game. I think they're a very tough opponent, so I'm looking forward to the race tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be exciting one to catch up on. I don't know if you guys are getting a restream, but definitely looking forward to those results, regardless of what happens. I mean, really, GG's on making it into the gold sword bracket and everything that have to do with that. I mean, really, I think showed up and your skills, I mean, were really evident in this race. I mean, even just tricks and things that you were doing that are not necessarily easy, and you were pulling them off well. Your Ganon Towers climb was awesome. I mean, really did a great job for having just picked this up recently and getting some time under your belt for the last couple of weeks. I mean, really, really well done.
Thank you.
Anything? Sorry, go ahead.
I should mention, I'm not sure if there will be a restream yet, but if anybody does want to watch the race tomorrow, it's going to be at the same time.
So 8:30 Eastern tomorrow
Yes.
night. Great. Anything you'd like to say about your tournament experience? Anything you want to share with folks about kind of what it's been like in this tournament?
So the tournament has been great. I think it's such a cool opportunity to be able to work with mentors, and especially with multiple mentors for different weeks. I'm really glad that I took that approach to it, of trying out different mentors over the course of the tournament. I've gotten a lot of different perspectives on the game and learned different stuff from each person I've worked with. But it's been a great opportunity. I've played other games competitively before, and Link to the Past Randomizer has been one of the easiest to learn and get to a good competitive level because of this whole tournament. So I think it's been really cool.
Awesome. Morgan, any other questions?
Oh, I'm great. I mean, I think, again, GG's to you, GG's to Couch. I mean, really just a couple unfortunate things that didn't go Couch's way, but certainly not taking anything away from you, Silver. You really performed well. So again, GG's on the win, and excited to see what happens tomorrow.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
And again, be sure to follow our runners. We just posted that in the chat there. Also, be sure to follow all of our crew. Thank you so much for the crew tonight. My co-coms, Morgcl, our tracker, Tom Servo, Restreamer, Trey, Spyre. If anybody is interested in learning how to do commentating, tracking, restreaming, we're always looking for volunteers. You can check us out in the Go Mode Podcast Discord. Just ask around, and we're happy to train you and get you into this. It's a lot of fun. Morgan, any last parting thoughts for tonight?
I'll just say again, thank you for taking me under your wing there, Jawsome. It was great to calm with you. I really felt comfortable after about first 5 minutes. Really kind of felt good there. So really appreciate that. And what a great race to watch and to come for. Again, thanks for all of that, and thanks to the Go Mode podcast for giving us this opportunity to learn. It has been a great experience, top to bottom. So excited to do it again.
Awesome, and definitely check out the Go Mode podcast for lots of good information about the game and how to play, how to learn. Join our community if you haven't already in the Discord, Go Mode Podcast Discord, and obviously keep following us on Twitch for a lot more. This is just the beginning. This is only round 1, so we've got a whole tournament of single elimination here coming. Lots of stuff going on, so hope you'll join us for that. So on behalf of my co-commentator Morgcl, the tracker H-Tom Servo, Restreamer, Trey, Spyre, and the Go Mode podcast, this is your co-commentator Jawsomesauce. Thank you for watching so much. Please stick around for more VODs and everything, and have a great evening.
Good night.